everybody, how's it going? Mike here from the Focus Garage, and as the title suggests, we took the Corvette drag racing in this one. I'm going to go ahead and play some drag racing clips and kind of talk about what's going on in those clips afterwards, just to kind of give you an idea of what was going on. So we took the car to Great Lakes Dragway in Union Grove, Wisconsin. It's about an hour and 30 minutes away from where I live. It was my first time taking this car drag racing. However, I have drag raced in the past with different vehicles that I've owned, but this is my first time taking a rear-wheel drive V8 manual transmission vehicle drag racing. So I knew going into this that the tires on the car may be a limiting factor. I don't have any kind of specific drag pack or drag setup or anything like that. I was just running the car on the stock Z06 Spider wheels with Michelin Pilot Super Sport tires. So didn't have any kind of sticky radial or drag tire or anything like that. Was just going to kind of try and run it on the Pilot Super Sports there and see what we could do with it. So without further ado, we're going to go ahead and we're going to jump to the track and we're going to give you my in-car thoughts for the first run out.
All right, we are rolling. I have no idea what's going to happen here, as this is my first time drag racing this car, but we're going to give it a go. We've got a track rental all day here, and we are going to try different RPM launches here. So the first time we're going to use just the factory launch control. I'm going to probably skip the burnout box entirely, and we're just going to kind of dump it in and see what it does. Ideally, this car could probably run mid to low 11s on a good tire, but I'm just running on Pilot Super Sports right now, so we're going to see what that does for me. I'm not that hopeful, but we're going to see. Pretty bad there, but overall I don't think that was terrible. I'm guessing that was like a mid 12 maybe. Let's see. Alright, we're going back to the staging lanes. We're going to try this again. That was my first pass of the day on a pretty cold tire. We ran a 12.8 at 117 miles an hour. Not bad, but not nearly what this car is capable of. So we're going to go out here, we're going to hit it again, and see what I can tick off this time. So let's give it another shot, and we'll go right back at it. Yeah, so we can see here, not as bad as I thought, but definitely not as good as I thought either. So oh, that's 60 foot though. Yikes. All right, we're gonna try this again. I think I either have the Z06 or the Camaro SS over there. Looks like I got the other Z06 here. Second gear was a no-go. right, here we go. Another pass here. We're going to try to kind of slip the clutch at a lower RPM here. I think leaving it around 4 or so that we've been doing, it's not working out because the car is just spinning and hopping, and that comes with the Michelin Pilot Super Sport tire that I'm on here. So I'm either going to need to let more air out of the tires, do a bigger burnout, or just not launch as aggressively. The only thing is, if I don't launch aggressively, I don't want to buck and surge the car either and kind of, you know, lug it off the line. So it's going to be interesting to kind of see what transpires here. We'll give it a go.
After we got a couple different runs in, I was noticing a couple things. I went out there, and the neat thing was, since we had a private track day rental with a local automotive group here, you were able to pretty much hot lap and do as many runs as you want, which is really, really cool when you're trying to kind of keep things to the front of your mind, dial in your setup. You know, you're really able to affect your tire pressure, your launch, your shifting, everything like that. So when I got out there, I adjusted my tire pressure, took some air out of them, and then I ran 3 or 4 hot laps back to back to back. And right away, I thought that I overestimated the tires. I'm like, I'm going to be able to put the car in its factory launch control mode, you know, rev it up, dump the clutch. It's going to kind of spin, but it'll hook and it'll go. Wrong. 500 wheel horsepower does not work on a prep drag strip with street tires. So I was either dealing with launching too high and the car was spinning and hopping real badly, or I'd be launching the car at too low of an RPM and then it would bog because it would hook, and then as soon as you'd start going, you get back up into the power band in first or second gear, it would start to spin and wheel hop again. So I was dealing with that. Then kind of once I got the launch a little bit more perfected, you know, we're kind of slipping the clutch a little bit, but not really dumping it, but not really lugging it either. We had some good launches. What I was dealing with is the car wasn't cooperating with second gear. You'll see in some of the clips here, you may have already seen, where I'm grinding second gear or I'm missing second gear entirely. Now, this may be to a few different things. One of the largest reasons I've seen with C5, C6, and even C7 Corvettes is your clutch fluid. If your clutch fluid gets dirty and contaminated with, you know, wear materials or moisture, once it heats up, it doesn't want to let you into gear. So I was dealing with that with my vehicle. Going into second gear, especially after hot lapping the car, it would grind or not want to go into second. This even happened once in the third gear, but I think I'm going to accept driver fault for that. I don't think I was all the way down in the clutch, or I may have missed the gate a little bit there. But I was dealing with some second gear issues. So I've already changed the clutch fluid once, but you can't really truly drain it and refill it. You've got to use a like a turkey baster, some kind of suction out of the reservoir, fill it up, pump the clutch, and recycle it over and over and over again until you see clear fluid. I did that before going to the strip, but obviously it wasn't fully clean. We still had some dirty fluid in there.
All right, best is a 12.6 so far, which is nowhere near where I want to be. I want to shave about 0.6 off of that, which I think is pretty realistic, seeing as how I haven't done a clean pass yet where I haven't either spun and hopped out of the hole or missed second or third gear. So we're struggling a little bit here, but we're kind of dialing it in. The launch is the worst part. It's really hard to get a good launch going here. So I don't know, we'll give it a try here. Everybody's saying this lane is not the lane to grab traction, and so we're gonna park it after this one, so long as we can get a good run here. But all right, here goes nothing. This is pass number 4. I think this lane sucks, which is why they keep having to clean it.
I learned kind of the way to combat this, and the trick against this is to let the car cool down. So don't hot lap it, don't do 3-4 laps in a row. Do a run, go let it cool off, pop the hood, and then do another run. So you've got a video coming up here where I actually go against a cts-v, and that felt like it was pretty much my most clean pass of the day. Going into this event, me and some friends were kind of talking, what do I expect the car to run? Where do I think the quarter mile time is going to be? And I really overestimated. I'm like, oh, I'd like to see an 11.8, an 11.9 out of it, just kind of, to see where it places. Well, long story short, the best run that I got out of the day was a 12.4 at 119 miles an hour. Now, I was talking with the previous owner who was actually drag raced this car before. He didn't do any quarter mile racing, but he did do some eighth mile racing. But he did have a drag pack wheel and tire set up on the rear with kind of a street radial on it, which greatly helped being able to launch the car and get traction off the line there. And he was running a full second faster in the eighth mile than I was in the eighth mile, during my quarter mile racing. So with a trap speed of 119, which is still slow for the power the car is making, that in and of itself indicates at least an 11.5 and 11.6 quarter mile time. With a better launch and a better 60-foot, I would bet that this car could run into the mid to low 11s. I bet this could do an 11.3-ish, maybe even 11.2 with a good driver all day long. So kind of the conundrum or the thing that I come across now is, do I care enough to go and buy a second set of wheel and tires to drag race the car? When I bought this car, I didn't plan to do any kind of drag racing with it. I want to do some road course, maybe some autocross stuff with it, but drag racing wasn't really something I wanted to do. However, as soon as I was out there on the strip, I was instantly reminded how fun drag racing could be. It's really fun, especially with a manual transmission vehicle, because yeah, I get it. Dual clutch cars, all-wheel drive cars are fast. You point them in a straight line and you hold the throttle. With a manual, there is so much in your control. The RPMs that you're launching at, where you're shifting at, just the overall of how you're keeping the car in its lane with rear-wheel drive, if you've got traction control off and everything like that. There's a lot more factors that are kind of at your control, which make it that much more rewarding when you're lowering your time, 10th by 10th by 10th. After all was said and done at this particular day, I got, I think, 9 or 10 passes in, ranging anywhere in the 12s pretty much. I think the passes where I pretty much gave up and abandoned second gear, those were like high 13 passes, just as I kind of limped it down the rest of the quarter. But just with, on average, I'd say the car is running anywhere from 12.4 to like 12.5, 12.6, which, again, not great at all. Still faster than a lot of stuff you'll run into on the street, but for a 500 wheel horsepower car, definitely could be much better than that. So let me know what you think in the comments down below. With a car that's trapping at about 119, 120 miles an hour, what kind of quarter mile speed or what kind of quarter mile time should you be seeing with that if you can get out of the hole quickly? I'm curious. My research leads me to believe, mid or so 11s, and then obviously with a better tire and everything like that, and perfecting the driving craft of it, you can probably get into the low 11s, which is awesome. That's really, really quick. My friend was there with his 600 wheel horsepower C6 Z06, and he was running in the 10s. He was running 10.4s and 10.5s consistently all day long for an all-motor car. That's super impressive, and I thought that was pretty cool to be able to watch him do that all day long there. And that's going to pretty much wrap it up for this video. Another neat thing that I wanted to point out that I was able to do while I was there, I was actually able to put my vehicle on a scale and weigh it. And what I found actually surprised me. My vehicle came in without me in it, but it had about a half tank of fuel, and just the car itself weighed 3,220 pounds, which is significantly lower than what I was seeing online. A lot of people are saying online the C6 Grand Sports weigh around 3,400 pounds. I'm not sure if that's maybe because my car is more of a base trim level. Like I said, I don't have the heads-up display. I don't have the heated seats, so I'm wondering if that makes much of a difference. I don't have the navigation either. I can't imagine that would account for 150 pounds or even more, but 3,220, that's where the car weighed in. That's super impressive of a car making the kind of power that it does, and that, I don't know, for whatever reason, that made me happy there. If you guys want to shame me in the comments down below for being a bad driver and missing gears, go ahead and do so. I welcome it. One thing I do want to do with the car is I do want to go ahead and give that clutch fluid another run. So I'm going to obviously, take out the fluid that's in there, fill it up, pump the pedal a bunch, cycle it through, keep doing it till the fluid's clear, because I think that was a problem. I am going to be doing a transmission service where I do new fluid in the transmission, as well as a differential service, so the diff's going to get new fluid as well. Once I take care of that stuff, I would like to take it back there again and see what I do. However, on these tires, there's no point in trying. It's impossible to launch a car like this. I was trying different length burnouts. I was doing smaller burnouts. I wasn't heating the tires. I was heating the tires, and you just trying to do the same thing over and over again and expecting different results. That's the definition of insanity. So I had reached a point to where I was getting the launch down, and it was wheel hopping violently in second gear at like 60 miles an hour. And it's absolutely terrifying. Nobody should ever have to deal with that. So if I do go back to the strip, I'm going to be putting a different wheel and tire setup on it. I may be borrowing the setup from my friend Z06. I may be borrowing something or purchasing something on my own. Only time will tell. If you like this kind of video, let us know in the comments down below. This was really fun. It's a shame that I didn't get all of the runs on the GoPro. However, I did get a lot of them on the GoPro. They just died at the last few runs that I was doing there. I had the helmet on. Hopefully you guys could hear me at least well enough in the car there. But yeah, it's going to wrap it up for this one. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe, and tap that bell for notifications, and I will catch you guys in the next video.